Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to discuss about another very important process where we will learn how to send data from parent component to child component. Okay, so you can say that we are going to discuss about the component communication, where we will learn about input decorator. We will understand how we can send input parameters and how we can receive the input parameters, okay, from one component to another component. Clear? So by the end of this session, we will be able to understand how we can send data from parent component to child component, what is input decorator, why do we need it, how to receive the value, and how to print the received value. Okay, but before we proceed further for this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow them sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to send data from parent component to child component. Okay, fine. Now let's start with the discussion of structure itself. Here we all know that when we create a new application, by default it comes with a parent component, that is app component. Okay, so this would be working as a parent component. Now we will firstly create a child component. Just to make the things easier for you, I'll do everything from scratch. Okay, so let's create the component first. So for that you can go to your terminal, new terminal, and here we are supposed to set the path where we want to create the component. So for that I will just take the reference here, and this is the main folder where I want to create the project. So I can simply copy this path using cd command for changing the directory to this location. Fine. So now you can see I'm in Angular course code, and my first project. Perfect. Now I'm doing CLS to clear the things so that I can show you everything from scratch. Alright, so path is ready. Now it's time to create the component. To create the component, we already discussed the two ways in last sessions, right? Where we discussed how to create component manually and using command. And here we will be using the command for creating the component. So let's create ng for Angular, then G for generate, C for component, and here we will put the name of the component. So let's say I want to create a component with login name. So I can write here login, then press enter, and it will take few seconds, and then you will see that it has created a one folder with the name login, which contain 4 files. Which 4 file? HTML, spec.ts, ts, and css. And these are the all 4 files that we need for a component. So that means our component is created. Now what we will do, we will attach this component with parent component normally without any parameter or anything. Okay, so to do that, let's go to the login component.ts. From here you can simply copy this selector, and also remember this name of component, which is login component. Now we have copied this thing and remember this name. So it's time to go for component.html. Here what we will do, we will simply use this as a tag. Okay, and for using it we need to register this component. So to register the component, let's go to app.component.ts. Here what we will do, we will import this component, and component name is login component. Perfect. So once you added this thing here, you will see automatically this line is added. Okay, fine. So we have added this thing. Now we will save it here, and in login component we already know that by default it writes this thing login works. Okay, so that means whenever we run the application, it should show this thing because we have attached this here, right? Alright, so we have attached the normal component. So far we are not using any parameter. Okay, so let's run the application. So to run the application, I will write here ng serve, enter. In few seconds it will show me the location, and this is the local location. So I'm following this link to open the browser. Perfect. So you can see it is coming here, Angular by Sharmit. Okay, but we can see login works is not here. So let's see what we missed. Let's save it here. It is showing one error, login component, in case of imports. Okay, so let's see why it is showing this error. Let's go to app.component.ts. Here we have added the imports for login component. We have included the file as well. Let's save it. Okay, so now it is fixed. Actually what we did, like we added this thing but we forgot to save this file. And remember always that whenever you are using it, make sure to save it, otherwise it will throw this kind of error. Okay, so after a save, you can see everything is successfully compiled. Let's go to the application, refresh the browser, and once you refresh it, okay, something is wrong maybe. Let me check. ng-serve. Let me clear this first. Okay, and we will run here ng-serve, enter. It is building the application. Warning is there in imports. So did we miss something here? Login component. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's re-add this thing. Maybe we made some mistake here, and here we will check the name again. So name is login component. Let's copy it. In this HTML we have already added this thing. Save it. Okay, now it's time to go to this. If you refresh it, okay, it is coming here. So in app.component.ts we need to register this thing. I think it is already taking the reference from here. What error it is showing? Can't find name login component. So you need to write here login component. It is saved. Refresh it and perfect. Now you can see login works is showing here. All right. Okay, so don't get confused. Actually there was some issue. I just fixed it. The issue was like we forgot to save one of the file. That's why it was causing this error. But fine, now everything is running perfectly. Okay, Angular by Sharmit and login works. So what we did so far, we just created the component. Once you created the component, now it's time to create the now it's time to send the data. Let me save it first. Okay, otherwise it might cause error. Okay, so now to send the data from parent to child component, what we will do, firstly you need to go to this place from where we are sending the data. Okay, so here we are using the selector, right? So while sending the data, you need to mention here one thing. For example, I want to send username, so just put here username equal, then inside quote whatever username. Let's say I want to send it as Amit, so I can save it. So what we did here, we just defined the value which we want to send from app.component.html. okay, or you can say app component. Now we have sent the data. It's time to receive the data. So to receive the data, simply go to this login.component.ts file. Here we need to mention the decorator. So just simply write here @ then input, and this is case sensitive. Okay, so make sure to put everything correctly. Then opening and closing parenthesis. After that, put your variable name, whatever you want to use. For example, I want to use with username, then colon, and then the type, and then equal, and the default value. Perfect. And just terminate it with semicolon. Okay, so what we did here, we just mentioned that we want to receive this username which is of type for data where data type is string and the default value is blank. Okay, so in case if we forgot to send any value, so it will consider it as a blank. So what we did so far, we created the component, we attached it with the application component, then we send the data from application component. You can see here we are just sending in the data. Now in login component.ts file we registered in login component.ts file we received the input. Now it's time to use this received input. So simply go to login.component.html. Here I will use it. So what we can do, instead of login works, we can write parameter received value is, and to use that value we will use data binding concept, and here we will write what I'll tell you about data binding later, but for receiving the value you just need to write this and the variable name. Perfect. Now you can save it. Let's try to run this application. Write ng-serve and enter. It will take a couple of seconds and then it will run the application. So you can refresh it, and here you can see parameter received value is Amit. That means we are successfully getting the required input value. Okay, so this is the way through which you can accept the value. Now let me summarize it for you in a very simple way. First step, create your component. Once component is added, attach this component with selector name into this app.component, means parent component HTML file. So we attached it, then register it. So to register this thing, go to app.component.ts, here register in imports, it will automatically this line. Perfect. After this, to send the data, go to this app.component.html, here you can mention username as Amit, and that's fine. So what it will do, it will send this username to this child component. In child component, to receive the value, go to login.component.ts, receive the value using this line. And what this line is telling, @input is a decorator with parameter with open close parenthesis, then you can pass username. Always make sure to use the same name so that it would be easier for you to understand what value you are sending and what you are receiving. So I am using the same name, then colon and its data type and the value. Perfect. Alright, now you can save it and it will work as expected. Now I'll show you one more thing. Sometime it might be possible, because right now we are just sending the static value, but there might be requirement where you want to send the data from dynamic way. Okay, let me create variable for that. So for example, I want to create a variable with the name username. Here I want to put the value as Sharmit. Okay, so I want this value to send. So to send this value, what you can do, you can simply go to this place where you are sending the value. Instead of Amit, just write here username. So what do you think, it will send the data? Let me show you. No, it is not sending. Instead it is directly printing username. So to make it very clear that no, we want to go through variable, so you need to put this brackets, square brackets. Okay, once you added it, saved it and refreshed it, now you can see the value is coming as Sharmit. Okay, so that's the reason, like we always make sure that we are providing the values in a correct way. Okay, now I'll show you one more interesting thing, like the concept of default value. Let's say here while receiving the value, I'm set the default value as ABC. Okay, so right now we are getting Sharmit because we are providing it, but let's say in some case we forgot to send this value. Let's remove this part. Okay, so in that case what it will do, it will consider that ABC as a default value, and now you can see we are receiving this value as a default value. So this is the advantage of setting the default value. So I hope this session is clear to all of you, where we discussed how to attach your component with a main or parent component, then how to send string as a static value and string as a dynamic value. Also we discussed the concept of default value for a string. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Sharmit.